Hello you guys, it's Kalatis and I have a surprise video for you. I'm actually deciding to read 2 dates, but before I actually get to that, I want to do this first. So behind the curtain, evolve. Go away. Go the fuck away. Oh my god. I swear to god, one day I'm gonna swallow a bug. There is a voice urging me. Go away. I open my eyes. Before me are countless fluctuating points of light. They form unto an enormous galaxy, each star reflecting a different setting. Those also familiar figures and completely unfamiliar scenes. Where is this? Dade, who am I? I look down and see the starlight glittering on my fingertips. As I stare in confusion, the starlight suddenly expands, instantly sucking me into its glow. Ooh. A silver light flashes before me, carrying with it an invisible current of air, rushing forward towards a completely unsuspecting young woman's back. Uh-oh. What? We can never have nice things in this game too, huh? I need to clean my glasses. A second, hold on. Let me take a sip of water too. I am so hungry. Which, that's cold. Oh my god, that's cold. Oh my god, that's cold. The water dripped on my leg. Because, it's cold, so it melts. And Of course, a gunshot sounded. 2 speeding bullets crashed silently into each other. This was a world of silvery white. Amidst the cold gleam of metal, people came and went wordlessly. Their erect postures seemed military, but there were no insignias on their white uniforms. A young man paused before me, but his eyes didn't pause on me, as if he couldn't see me standing right in front of him. Where is... Oh no, he hurried off down the corridor, entering a room labeled laboratory with a scowl. He listened to the examiner report the latest test results. This bullet is specially constructed but not lethal. We've determined remnants of a special portion within what? As to what it is exactly, we're still conducting further tests. Lieutenant Gavin, you take a look at this picture. Inside the bullet is an extremely small particular mark, a custom of theirs. On the image the examiner held, on the silver metal at several times, magnification was an S, like Black Swan. With a slightly upturned tail, it has to be. Gavin's pupils dilated ever so little, and under his breath 2 words escaped. Them.
Black Swan.
Okay, thank you, Claude. The pages of reports in his hand creased faintly, as if recoiling from his latest anger.
If the tests turn up anything new, contact me right away.
Will do. Gavin made this last request, then hurried off with the report as if he had many more matters to attend to. Just then, from the shadows of the laboratory, walked an austere-looking middle-aged man. He took his eyes off Gavin and turned them to the examiner. Oh, it's you. Oh my. Is your name Leto? I don't remember what. How were the test results? Aside from the conclusions in the report, we discovered as in yet unknown material in the metal comprising the bullet. An almost fanatical expression came over the heretofore measured and reasonable face of the examiner. This material couldn't have been created using current level technology. Well, if it came from Black Swan, obviously. If our previous hypothesis is correct, this bullet may very well have come from an alternate dimension. Whoa, of course, dimensions. Oh, the Commander, the one that we just saw. This could be evidence for that other world you've been after all this time, Commander. The man gave the slightest nod, and a dark gleam full of ambition flashed in his eyes. He walked calmly out of the lab, face composed and breathing steady. The people he passed all said hello, and he nodded in return. No one could see how his heart had been shook moments ago. I didn't think these were going to be long. Oh no, can I read both Lucian's date? The commander sat motionally behind his desk, seemingly plunged deep into thought. The light, we don't have this background in the game, do we? No? The light from the screen reflected in his eyes. It was a photographer of a man, with a name written underneath, Victor. If you see his new chapter karma card, it's as if he turned into Yakuza, bro. He looked further down. some brief text in a massive table of data recorded Victor's evolve and his recent uses of it. In the other records before and after each point in time when Victor used his evolve, a change occurred in the surrounding energy and space, and these changes were becoming more and more evident. Right after that, he pulled up another file. This one had a picture of an old man, and the name underneath was Charles. Have we heard of that name in this game before? Knock, knock. Right then, a knock came at the door, and the file on the screen was promptly closed. Come in. The door opened, and in walked none other than Gavin. Agent B7, has your investigation reached a conclusion yet?
Yes. According to the investigation, Black Swan's recent series of actions have all been aimed at one target.
Would it be us or that area?
They seem to be provoking her on purpose, but have no intention
us.
of killing her.
So when I meant us, I meant the main character on the other side. Bro.
I've investigated the target's recent evolve fluctuations, as well as her movements. There is a crucial connection with BS Entertainment.
And bullshit entertainment.
And before Coordinate Company, the company formerly in charge of hers, was bought out, the shareholder behind the scenes just happened to be this company.
You know what? I might actually make this into a separate video, because these might be a little longer than I thought. Oh dear.
I believe that awakening the target's evil may very well be what Black Swan is planning. This could be their long-term goal.
By the way, he is 100% right. I believe that is their goal, to get her to waken up, bro. After Gavin finished, I know, it's like the main character is weak, but I'm like, come on, make her strong. After Gavin finished, the commander didn't speak right away. I mean, she is strong in her own right way, but I'm talking about magical powers, bro. He remained silent a moment before nodding. Keep monitoring Black Swan's next action.
Yes, sir.
Gavin paused a moment, and a look of resolve flashed in his eyes as he looked at the commander and said,
I'd like to request to be assigned to the target as a personal bodyguard.
Okay. The commander's sharp gaze instantly swept over him, but he looked back without flinching as if the air filled with tension. Your most important mission in coming to Loveland City is investigating Black Swan. Do not let other factors divert your attention.
Our investigation has already proved that she is a key factor in Black Swan's plot. She must be protected.
She's a key to every goddamn thing, bro. It doesn't have to be by you. Oh, no. At this sentence, a chill look spread through Gavin's eyes. That's why I said, oh, no. His voice became somewhat resigned. I don't think he's gonna like that.
If the organization does not permit it, then I will continue protecting her of my own volition.
Yeah, own volition, which means go fuck yourself. I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want, okay? With that, he turned the room to leave. You are a fine agent. Remember why it is you came here. The commander's voice sounded behind him in a warning tone, but Gavin did not look back.
This is a personal matter. It will not hinder my completion of STF missions.
Aww. The door thudded to a close. In the darkness, a cold smile spread across the face of the man behind the desk. The future, the mirai, is always changing. Conforming to it will only end in fail. First of all, what does conforming even mean? I gotta Google that. I don't know. The scene before me, is she just looking at scenes? Suddenly started wavering, and the figure within became blurred and distorted. The space started rapidly transforming. Soon, a little wooden cabin in the mountains forest appeared before me, and a voice came from it that I'd heard somewhere before. But nobody's talking, so they're not important, if you know what I mean. Mr. I don't know if it's a guy or a girl. Mr. Charles, I hear that the glass you make here is quite special. Wait, Charles, that Charles in the cabin with the old guy, right? Yeah, the middle-aged man in black stood in the cramped little cabin, his immaculate uniform and imposing expression markedly at odds with the surroundings. Before him stood a hale and hearty elderly person, none other than one of the people under investigation from 2 files. Oh shit. Are you looking to purchase some glass, sir? Oh, unfortunately, I don't have plans on making any of them anytime soon. I'm afraid you've gone out of your way for nothing. There's a forbidding tone in the old man's voice, but the commander's expression didn't change, and he kept his eyes locked on the old man's face. It's you. Too bad that I won't get to see the wares that you make in your space. The old man's face instantly turned cold and his voice grew chill. It seems you haven't come here for glass. Mr. Charles, do you believe in the existence of parallel universes? I am old. I'm sorry, I can't do old man's voice. I could do it, but that's gonna kill my fucking voice, and it's not good either. I'm old. I don't have time for this newfangled ideas. He shook his head with a sigh, about to show his guest out. If there's nothing else, then you'd be best getting along. I'd gather you can find your way out. I have proof as of its existence. Oh shit, Victor, right? By it, of course, I'm referring to the so-called parallel universes. We're stuck in one of them. Hearing this, the old man paused in his motion to show the man out. He took a good hard look at his hard-to-fathom man. Get the hell out of my house. The commander took out the bullet lab report and handed... Oh, the bullets, man. Hesitated a moment before taking it and started to flip through it. We suspect that this is a bullet from another dimension. Oof. That is only speculation on your part. Okay. I want to disagree with that, because if you find something that's, like, not of this world, like, don't you think it's from that world, like the parallel one? This isn't the only evidence we have. We know for a fact that the gate to another world has already been opened. Courtesy, I think, main character, right? As of now, the other side has opened fire on us. If we remain completely in the dark, then we're just going to be sitting ducks, okay? We don't want to be sitting quacks. The picture of that silver bullet on the lab report showed with unsettling, piercing gleam. The old man dropped his pretense. What do you want me to do? I'm just an old man. I know you possess a method for going to that place. Does he? Who are you then? I want you to open that door for us. Hearing this absurd-sounding request, the old man broke out in a laugh. You guys worry too much. In that unseen world, there will be naturally a higher power protecting this world. Besides, the power of humans is so negligible in the vastness of the universe, it doesn't amount to anything. No matter what else the commander said, the old man had said his piece. Seeing this, the commander could only say goodbye and leave. When he got a little ways away from the cabin into the woods, he made a phone call. Continue investigating that time-manipulating evolver, the black card, the also god Victor. When the man When the old man finally disappeared into the forest, the old man in the cabin closed the window, but the bullet report the man had brought was still there. The old man shook his head, then turned and entered his own space. Though this was a wooden workshop, the glass of the middle-aged man had pretended to come here asking about was lining the walls. The old man took out the pocket. Wait. And examined it with a moment, a look of nostalgia welling in his eyes. Oh, buddy, I think it's time for you to get a new owner. As if it could really understand the old man's words, a gleam shined across the surface of the watch. Don't get impatient. You'll meet him soon enough. The old man laughed, deep wrinkles forming affably at the corner of his eyes. Then he turned his gaze, and I could almost feel his gaze upon me. Right now, we have to help out this child. That kind of startled me a little bit. Before I could get over my shock at the sound of his voice, the hand on the watch started spinning rapidly backwards. Yep, he could totally do it, bro. The hand spun faster and faster, blurring into a beam of white light. Click, clack, clack. That was the sound of the gears turning. The scene before me had also started swirling along with the hand and separated to countless screens overlaid on one another. On every screen were strange and yet familiar people. Wind swept through the camphor trees, and a huge shadow enveloped a solitary man. An endless vortex of darkness tore through space. In an instant it swallowed up that person, their pocket watch in hand, and a pained expression. A plummeting elevator glowed with a cold silvery light. A golden-haired young man looked up at the light in the ceiling. Beneath the sky rolling with black clouds, a towering figure stood upon the highest height, flashing lightning gathering in his outstretched hand. are we like Keto and Sean, right? Whoa, that was bright. I'm sorry, but this is kind of very creepy. The scenes went on and on. I seemed to see a hazy shadow appear in each one and began to move quickly. Sounds and images interweaved, and the shadow became more and more distinct as it rushed past me. The shadow suddenly stopped right in front of me in the blink of an eye, as if it was going to charge at me. Everything became a blur. Okay. When my vision cleared, Gavin was standing in front of me, calmly and coldly holding a gun up to me, which is... When did this even happen? Chapter 6? Bang. With the sharp crack of the gun, a silver bullet whistled toward me like a streak of light. I closed my eyes in fear. After what seemed a while, through the silent stillness came the kindly voice of the old man. "Welcome. You finally made it here, my child." Oh. Opening my eyes, I saw countless paths crisscrossing amidst a vast darkness. A whole new world was opened up before me. Oh boy. I heard a sound clang. A blood-stained scalpel fell onto the tray. Number 11. A supremely calm voice spoke from behind the surgeon's mask, who didn't even take his eyes away to so much as glance at his assistant. A clean scalpel was nearly instantly placed into his hand. It was the child of only 8 or 9, wearing the same uniform as the doctor, a pair of still eyes peering over his face mask. He expertly picked out the scalpel that the doctor had named from amongst a wide array, even having some at the ready before the surgeon even opened his mouth. The whole scene felt very off-putting. The boy clearly wasn't any taller than the operating table. Ew. Like he'd done this a million times. His gaze, I told you we could... Oh no, is it this scene? I told you we could never have nice things in this game, bro. I think I know what they're referring to. His gaze swept over the girl, which is us, lying on the table, but nothing in the motions of that gaze remotely befitted the boy of his age. Oh no. This bizarre surgery continued for several hours until it finally ended. Faint beads of sweat had formed long ago on the forehead of the boy performing his duty so diligently. You take the subject back to the room, and be sure to... What was that? Wait beside her until she wakes up. The boy's expression remained unchanged as he gave a light nod. In the small, gloomy white room, the anesthesia, yes, the girl was still under. A hand exposed outside the blanket was gaunt and pale, its bluish veins distinctly visible. The boy sitting to the table looked out the window upon the lush camphor trees, watching the wind rustle through leaves, thinking about who knows what. When he turned to look at the girl, he discovered that her eyelids were fluttering, seemingly just about to open up.
You're finally awake.
You're finally awake. The wind blew harder, and the branches shook fiercely, as if in warning of a coming storm. Oh yeah, in the blink of an eye, the scene before me transformed again. This day has finally come. Shut the fuck up, software update. The man on the screen couldn't contain his excitement. The day has finally come, yes. His eyes burned across the screen as he looked at the person in front of him. The scar... Oh, is this Hades? His face...
And not
no.
only that.
Eris. He doesn't have a scar. It would be Hades that does. Are we going through like Victor, Lysian, Keto, Gavin thing? I don't know. The person... Hey, there's two... Oh my god. Okay, let's do this. Hold on, that was too long. The person sitting in the room looked up. He was wearing all white, looking particularly elegant and refined, but his expression was completely detached from his warm appearance.
What do you think about other worlds?
I can't hear him. The recording, I can't. The person on the other side of the screen froze, eyes burning with fervor. I don't know if I said this. Eris, you've entered the Queen's dreamscape. Oh, that's a question. Eris, you've entered the Queen's dreamscape. Has the dream experiment already succeeded? Last time, getting that Solomon code after the experiment failed, all the data got automatically purged. RIP. Now, the Queen's dreamscape is the only portal there that we can control. Hey. Something seemed to occur to the man. Then a moment later, he gave a slight nod.
The dream experiment is only half complete.
Ah. He paused slightly, and his eyes grew profound and still.
But I have a theory that perhaps another door has been opened.
Uh-oh. Then the day we've been anticipating is soon at hand.
Before
No.
that, there is still much that needs to be resolved.
Okay. The man quickly shut off the video feed, and just then there came a knock at the door. Eris, 3684's lab report is here. The person who entered handed him a thick report, and on its cover was printed a symbol. The man gleamed at the report, but he didn't open the report.
Going forward, we'll be conducting a new evolution experimental project. Ask 3684 if he'll accept.
Okay. But that project... Uh-oh. The assistant spoke out in surprise, but before he could finish, the words were swallowed back under the man's steady gaze.
He will accept.
He will. Okay. He spoke as if he was just stating an everyday fact. The assistant lowered his hand in self-reproach, then took the experimental project document and left. Eris turned his eyes back to the report, reading through it page by page at great speed, and picked up a pen and signed his name. With that done, he stood up and opened a secret compartment in the wall, placing the document in a row of slots, all empty except for this one file. Damn. The other row, on the other hand, was stacked full of countless documents, but each one was labeled with the word failure. Damn. Only file 3684 was labeled success. From 17 years of records, not a single one was missing. Who is this person? Rotating the compartment, Eris took out a folder labeled Queen, then returned to his desk. Upon opening it, the first words were... The first words his eyes fell upon were the name of the place, Oh, Jesus Christ. I thought the report said like twin, so two people leave. It said that's just the name of the place. Eris read on through the thin file, and after a few pages, the document went blank. Only in more recent entries did the recordings begin again. The earliest was a report for Professor John. This person's name was stamped over with a red stamp, spelling out in clear letters, unqualified. There were two photographs on the file, one of the emancipated little girl lying on the sickbed all those years ago, another of the girl all grown up, a faint smile on her face. Is that us? The man looked at that smile for some time, then reached over and took out the picture. On the window, he drew the numbers 1908, then he drew an elongated arrow and placed the girl's picture at the end of it? Outside the window, the sky had finally broken out onto a smattering of rain. His form reflected on the glass, becoming clearer and clearer as the sky darkened.
What are you looking at?
Did he just talk to us? Suddenly, the man opened his mouth, but there was no one before him. Is he talking to me? I tried to throw off my shock and spoke, but I was still unable to make a sound. The man let out a chuckle. I actually found myself thinking he looked much gentler when he smiled, more befitting the impression he gave all dressed in white.
I know you're here.
That is fucking creepy, guys. I know you're here. I don't know why, but a calm washed over me. Hearing the man talk to himself.
I'm telling you these things now, and you will not remember them later.
Okay.
But there will come a day when you can recall everything. Because no matter which world you're in, you are always you.
We will always remember, bro. A rumbling sounded in my ears, and I wasn't sure if it was coming from me or the sound of thunder in that world. The man lightly tapped his marker tip to the starting point of the arrow, tip 1908.
Evil was born at this moment, and from then on, many futures have already been decided.
Is that why that date is important? Holy shit. The marker tip turned to the photograph of the girl.
And you appear here. The only person who can change those futures.
Yeah, 'cause she can go in different timelines, bro, or parallel worlds, you know. He looked at the photo, a complex expression in his eyes from which I could not see nor even guess what he was thinking.
Sooner or later, you will try to change the future.
Indeed. His voice turned cold, and he looked slightly upward, a bolt of flashing lightning rent the thick clouds overhead, lighting up the shadows in his eyes. The rain outside the window fell harder. The torrent snuffed out all light, and the darkness seemed to morph into a murky mirror in which only the man's reflection showed clear. For a moment, it seemed like two people standing face to face. The man looked at the girl's picture with lowered eyes, and the cold gaze reflected into the glass seemed to be staring through the void straight at me. The corner of his mouth perked up in a half smile. For a little bit, I couldn't tell which was him and which was the reflection, which one was staring at me and which one was speaking to me. Of course, the man seemed to be unaware of the whole thing. Then his reflection in the mirror lifted up his hands. The pair appeared suddenly out of the air, blurry and transparent, as if an illusion created by the light. A big patch of cracks appeared noiselessly in the glass, the reflection's last piece of clothing, also separated from the mirror's surface. The only difference was that there was a bandage wrapped around his eye. I actually did not realize he had a bandage on his eye. Why am I finding this out now? Because the man before the mirror saw the glass suddenly crack, but instead of seeming shocked, he just laughed crack.
You did it after all.
Okay, this is creepy. From my line of sight, the two identical men were in the standoff, but also couldn't see each other. In this tense atmosphere, a knock at the door suddenly interrupted everything. Eris, 3684, I thought it said has accepted. He asked that you come to the laboratory.
Then let's go.
Oh boy. Without delay, the man closed the file on the desk and departed from the room.
Have you ever heard of the observer effect?
Observer effect? Observer effect? Are you referring to the double split experiment, the picture right now? A blank look came over the assistant's face. The man just chuckled without answering, and the door closed behind them, leaving behind the man by the window and the person who didn't exist here, me. The man held out a hand unto the crack-filled window, an uncommonly cold gleam in his eye that reflected the unstinging rain outside, and something else too. Whoa. Another bolt of lightning crashed. Boom. I saw that the reflection in the glass at some point turned back into the man's original appearance. Whoa.
You want to change the future. Do you know what's at stake?
Is he talking to me now? This voice was distant, as if separated by layers of space and time, yet piercing against my eardrums. The man before me gave me an indifferent look, and then disappeared into his reflection. Then the reflection disappeared too. Damn. I don't think I'm going to be reading any stories. I did not think this was long. The dim glass gradually became clear. Light slowly poured in from one side, revealing the entirety of the scene behind it. In a dark room, a golden-haired young man sat against a wall. He was bruised and battered all over. Kiro, maybe? With his head held down perfectly still, as he sunk into a coma. A hand was pressed outside the side of the one-way mirror. Outside the glass stood a man with insidious eyes sweeping over the plain space. I need a break. I didn't realize this was actually going to be that long. Oopsies. Yeah, I'm definitely not reading the dates. I might still do them later in a few hours. Give me a second. I gotta eat something, bro. It's not going to take long. Hold on. I know. I'm here. It's just I need a break because my voice is giving out, and I'm eating because I'm fucking hungry, man. Oh. Oh. This is good. Oh god. Oh my god. That was a lot of water. Whoa. Yeah, I gotta cover the food so the bugs do not get in it. Have a sip of water and we will continue. Once I chew on the food. Oh no. Oh no. Okay. Oh. Oh. Well, y'all did not hear me hiccup because sometimes I have trouble swallowing food. Where the stomach part is. And that hurts. I know what it's from, but I'm good now. It only lasts for a few seconds. So, okay. A hand was pressed against the side of the one-way mirror. Outside the glass stood a man with insidious eyes sweeping over the plain space. Hades! It seems he's finally going to do something. The malicious grin spread across his face. He can go fuck himself with both scornful and mocking, and the scar across his face appeared ghastly. Behind him stood a woman dressed in black leather. Her eyes rested on the wounds of the man locked inside, and her brows furrowed slightly. Is it her? Yeah. He's been comatose like this ever since the queen awakened. His new evolve isn't stable yet. Damn. Whoa. The one who did this to him didn't destroy our only successful test subject, did they? Hearing her question, the man let out a sneer. A test subject is just a test subject after all. After tossing out his cruel fact about the organization, he then turned away without another thought. But what he didn't see was that the person locked in that room suddenly lifted his head and looked at the same being in the darkness. Whoa. In the twinkling, his whole body disappeared from you. Was that supposed to happen? On the other side of the wall, the woman in black looked back from the doorway, seeing only a room shrouded in darkness without anyone in it. Her eyes widened slightly, and the flash of shock darted across her steel gray eyes. How did that even happen? Notify Eris. Uh-oh. Instead of rashly rushing into the room to check, she immediately sent a message to her beep beep, a communicator. Damn. I wonder how they're gonna... Was that the test subject they were talking about? How did they disappear? The sound of hurried footsteps came down from the hall, and then a white door was pushed open. Eris, Artemis just sent an urgent message. Oh, ooh. 3684 suddenly disappeared from the dark room after his punishment. Should we issue an eternal notice immediately? The man standing at the window turned his head, his right eye covered by a bandage, and the gaze from his left was still enough to cause this abort. I was about to say, oh boy.
No need. He'll be back.
Ooh, well, I don't see any bandage on you right now. No need, guys. I mean, he'll just keep coming back. In the depths of that eye was a shadow darker than the eternal night. Whoa. In the black abyss, a lone body was curled up on itself. On his forehead was a keyhole shaped like countless jumbled silhouettes all around him. The scene before me suddenly started to vibrate violently, and an error signal appeared as if some interfering force. Whoa, holy cow. Warning, this dimension is too high, unable to sync. Would you like to view a lower dimension? So, this experiment person, he just disappeared, and obviously this is too much for him. This is him right now, right? Oh. Sure. thump thump pow, the sound of a musical instrument being pounded from the other side of the door. A golden-haired boy with headphones around his neck and a song on his lips came walking into the room. Kiro. He closed the door behind him, shutting out the noisy rock music, then deftly turned the lock. Even though the music wasn't backing him anymore, he kept on singing the tune and drumming along to the beat in the air. He started up the computer and entered a string of complex codes. His fingers flew across the keyboard in a blur, and lines of code flashed across the screen. Oh god. An error warning popped up from time to time, interrupting his motions, but he didn't seem to mind and just moved on to another method to break into this database.
They always like to make it complicated.
Huh. That's right. The boy frowned, backed off the keyboard, reached out behind him, and smoothly opened up a mini fridge and took out a can of soda. He slugged back a big gulp of ice-cold cola, a look of satisfaction in his eyes just as he was selecting a CD off the desk. A ding sound was suddenly heard. Uh-oh. The boy swiftly set aside the cola and looked at the screen, his eyes shining.
Yes, I'm in.
Oh. He tapped rapidly on the keyboard, the rat-ta-ta sound emerging most perfectly with the drumming seeping in the crack in the door. Soon the boy came to a halt, and he had discovered a strange string of code, and a puzzled look came over his face.
Coordinates?
Coordinates?
It's a location?
Maybe. Before he'd gotten a full understanding of the string of code, a warning in red letters that almost took up half of the screen appeared before him, and all the data started melting. Oh, crap.
Oops, they caught me.
Oopsies. The boy stuck out his tongue. He didn't show a hint of panic at being discovered, but rather a look of total relish. He systematically started covering the tracks of his intrusion, and after confirming nothing was amiss, he turned off the computer, then resumed singing and walked out of the room. Wow. He just took it like no panic. Oh, okay, error, whatever they call me, okay. The jauntily little tune was once again muffled by the closing of the door. A heavy, strained metal door was pushed open with a creak. The red-painted door was spotted with flakes of crimson rust that fluttered down at the slightest disturbance. This was a long-abandoned building that was never finished construction and never been visited by anyone. The person who pushed open the door pulled a baseball cap low over his head. Beneath the cap was several locks of golden hair and a young face not much over 20. A name suddenly popped into my mind. Kiro. The name quite suited him.
Finally found it.
Oh. Kiro walked through the what did he find? Of empty rooms, a computer in his hand upon which he would enter something, then delete, checking repeatedly until he finally stopped at a room that was all white. Oh god. His upheld finger trembled slightly, then he finally hit the return key. The wall, suffused with a metal glow, started to flicker, and soon the outline of a person had formed out of a bunch of ones and zeros. That's fucking creepy. Kiro looked wide-eyed at the person who had appeared on the wall. He jerked forward half a step and called out,
Master?
Master? Master? I'm sorry. The outline of the wall shifted around unsteadily, and an electronic voice played through the computer in Kiro's hand. Kiro, it's been a long time. Although he knew this was a message saved years ago, this young man, who was usually so composed, now grew red around the eyes. His pupil glistened with water. Don't worry about me. I never left this world, only changed modes of existence. This existence is more than physical, but it's not spiritual either. You can see me as a string of code or a spirit in the stream of countless data.
But still, it's not the same.
Oh no. Kiro muttered these words as he stood there in the center of the room, just meters away from the silhouette of the man, yet clearly more alone than ever. How long am I on this video? Okay. Hearing this, Kiro's face grew solemn. I placed a code in your computer's database composed of 10 layers. The final layer will self-destruct after 30 minutes. You must commit this layer firmly to your memory. Whoa. At those words, his fingers flitted over the keyboard to open the database, and a string of code flashed across the screen. This code is the key to opening all doors. Holy shit, who are you? Opening all doors? You must use it to open a door and see an important person, which would probably be us. The string of code seemed to be a signal. The figure composed of digits started to float away, and the electronic voice started to flicker and fade from the computer. After this code disappears, you will be this world's last key. You must remember the key's mission. Holy cow. Even from the motionless, synthesized voice, Kira could hear that this was goodbye. He tried to get him to stay.
Master, I still...
Oh no, aw. The digits forming that silhouette were all but faded. His final words came through hazily, yet incredibly determined. Kiro, you must remember, we shall stand in darkness as we defend the light. As the sound of the last syllable faded, this empty room started to disintegrate. The wall caved in, and then the bricks reorganized themselves, forming a pitch-black passageway. Kiro stood dazed where he was for a long time, an empty look in his eyes. When all of the changes finally settled into place, with somewhat of a grimace, he bent at the waist.
I will remember, Master.
Damn. A bead of water rolled down his jaw and fell onto the dust-covered floor. He straightened up and walked resolutely through the floating dust down the black passage. That was depressing. Don't go in. I couldn't help wanting to call out to him, but I forgot my voice could not reach him. But he really did seem to sense something. He turned his head and beamed a smile at me in the empty space, just like when he was a boy, incomparably dazzling. The whole room collapsed completely. The black passage, the white walls, the figure of the young man all gradually receded into the distance. Whoa. From the high in the dust-filled air, I saw the building lean and collapse into a pile of rubble. A group of people in the distance shouted, "Oh," in shock, and the sound of police sirens came. Was this the end? Then a placid sound of piano music wafted in the air. Is that you, Hypnos? Drowning out all the other noises, and all was calm. Time started to sprint backwards. The collapsed building erected itself once again from the ground up. I was also brought involuntarily down the stream of time back into the building. The row upon row of newly risen walls had me trapped securely within. The tight space became more and more cramped. I could actually touch the walls all around me, but I couldn't escape. Holy cow. The oxygen was getting used up, and my breathing felt more and more labored. As my consciousness gradually grew hazy, the vibration of piano strings seemed to sound in my ears once again, and a flat, unfamiliar voice spoke out. An unknown observer has appeared. Then an aged voice spoke up, sounding a bit familiar. Now tell me your
Helios.
name. Helios? Oh, it was the young man who responded. Did he meet the person at the end of the passage? Remember what you promised me. The old man laughed. The sound of his laughter sent me into a deep trance, and the sound of a whirling current swept over me as if carrying me away. This must be the code that we're looking for. Quickly, give me the passage key. Oh shit. The voices of all kinds of people constantly vibrated in my mind, colliding and overlapping with each other, making my head feel like it was about to burst.
Look at me.
Oh shit. The young man's outburst broke through all the voices and reached my ears. An unknown power seemed to take over my body and force my eyes open, and I hazily saw a streak of gold. A moment later, the streak of color came into focus. I was looking at the golden key. That silver-haired youth raised his head and seemed to look at me across the endless void, and one eye changed into a golden hue, dangerous and unnatural. He seemed to transform into two phantoms, one of gold and one of silver, continually interlacing and changing like an overlap that couldn't hold together. Kiro, oh, dang. What? The young man leapt at me, or perhaps he only wanted to shatter the glass in front of him. In an instant, shards shattered all around, glittering with fierce light. He walked towards me through the light-suffused air. I saw a reflection in the shattered glass, that panicked face of someone
I'm here.
else.
You can rest.
Oh, he spoke coldly. That stifling feeling also scattered instantly, much like the shattered glass. I finally come out from the wall. Holy crap. Well, Whoa. Don't tell me keto is that experiment. No.
No.
No, it's probably not. Error. Report. Z, Gala, KO2, not found. I was the game? What? Oh. Please exit the current dimension and start viewing again. Interesting, huh? What just happened? Guys, I might have to stop this video because my voice is dying and I just cannot keep up. I'd rather take a break and actually split this video because this is actually way too much than I signed up for. Holy cow. So yeah, actually that's what I'm gonna do because right now I'm just forcing myself, but from what I have read, oh my god, this is definitely crazy. Holy cow. I cannot wait to read the rest of that, but yes, I hope that you enjoyed this video and I will see ya I hope very soon actually. So I guess I'm not gonna read the dates today, or maybe I can still do one. Does that count? No. So yeah, I'll see you hopefully soon. Hopefully, we shall see.